This is Gemara in Kiddushin, Daf Mem Tes, Agutavach, Agutamayed. We're holding on the bottom of Mem Ches Amid Base. 2 lines from the bottom. Amar Abaye. Continues Abaye in discussing this Shita of Rav Shimon. And this really continues the previous Gemara in which Rav Shimon taught us Mare Makoy Mulay. That when someone instructs a shliach to do something, not always are his words absolutely precise and taken to the T, but rather he's giving an idea. And when the woman told silver, she didn't mean dafka, he meant something similar. As the Gemara now explains, Amar Abaye Rav Shimon, Rashbag, V'Rav Elazar, Kulu Sfir Lumar Makumulay. They all prescribe, words aren't working tonight. They all agree, with the opinion of Maramakim Ulai. The bottom Rashi reminds us of where we're holding. Ha'imar l'shlucha, if someone says to a shliach, lasloi b'davar hakal, v'lasloi b'davar kavit, and the shliach does something more difficult. De'ein zeh shinoi. This isn't considered changing from the shlichos. V'loy amar le'davar hakal, and why did the person instruct the shliach for the easier thing? Ella lahara islay ma'akayim, to give them an idea. Lahakel b'shlichusai, to be easier. Im kaved alav inyan acher. So they all agree to this opinion of Maramakim Ulai, and therefore, if the shliach goes on his own and does that which is more difficult, certainly it would work. Rav Shimon Hadamaron, Rashbag Ditanan, as we learned in our Mishnah, as we turn over to Mem Tesam and Aleph, get Pashit. If we have a get Pashit, now Pashit does just mean simple over here. Pashit means an open document, as the top Rashi spells out. What do we mean by an open document? It means a document like the ones that we make, not sewn together. Edav mitaychai, if the edim are inside of it, edav mitaychai, the edim should be inside of it. Mekusher, if there's a get mekusher, a get mekusher being the opposite, being that a get which is tied up. Edav me'achayrav, the edim should sign on the outside. A sugya that we learned in Gittin, seemingly Baba Basra will have it as well. Pashit shekasu edav me'achayrav, u'mekusher shekasu edav mitaychai. And I actually should say better, this isn't really referring to a regular get. This is referring to any form of document in which is written this way. Now, of course, a get is as well a form of document. But says the Gemara, if I have a pashit that the edav on their outside, on the back of the paper, or I have a mekusher in which the edim are inside, Shneihem psulim, they are both puzzle. Rav Chanina ben Gamliel loimer mekusher shkazu edim mitaychai kosher. If it's tied up and the edim are inside, it's kosher. Why? Says Rav Chanina ben Gamliel, shechol asay say pasha, you can just open it up. Rashbag oimer teaches of Shimon Gamliel, hakol kemina gamedina, everything goes with the prevailing minan. Va'avinan ba, and we wondered, what exactly is Rav Shimon Gamliel teaching us? Tanakama lesle minhag Medina. What's going on in that brayso? Tanakama disagrees. Tanakama says Shnei Besulim. Tanakama doesn't hold of a minhag. Va'amar Rav Ashi, 8 lines down, Memtesam and Aleph. Rav Ashi explains, Ba'asra denehigi b'pashit va'avdela mekusher. In a place where they normally do it open and they did it closed. Inami basit mekusher v'avdela pashit. Or in a place they do it tied and they did it open. So if you did the opposite of the minhag, kuli amalei pligi, then no one argues. Divadai kveida, certainly the husband or the mishaleach, the sender, is certainly makbid that he wanted it to be done the way that is the normal minhag. Keep ligi, what's a machlekes? Basar de nehigi, bein bib hashid, bein bib kosher. We have a place without a particular minuk. V'amar le, and he said, avdili pashid, make it for me open. Vazel, and he went, v'avale kosher, and he did the opposite. That's the case in which this brisa has a three machlekes to the Tana Kamer Chanani ben Chnina ben Gamliel and Rav Shimon Gamliel. Explains the Gemara. What is the three-way machlekes mar? Savar, the first opinion the Tanakama holds. Kpeda, he's makbid. He wanted it the way that he said, and therefore if he did it the opposite, it's possible. Umar Savar Rav Chanina ben Gamliel holds. Excuse me, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel holds, because again, Rav Chanina ben Gamliel is only saying one case. He's not really fully arguing. He's just saying, in the case of Mikushar, that case is kosher for a sidebar reason, because you could open it up. So really, I should say better, it's Machlekes Tanakama and Rav Shimon Gamliel. So Tanakama says in this case it's possible. Why? Because he's makbit. Omar Savar Rav Shimon Gamliel says that I called Kaminagam Medina, meaning it's going to be kosher. Why? Because he just was giving an idea and he's not makbid the way that the shliach does it precisely. So that is case number 2, in which we see that it's concept of maramakim ulai, that the mishaleach, the sender, is not necessarily wanting precisely the way that he said. And number 3 was Rav Elazar. 14 lines down, first line is Elazar. Elazar did Tanan. We learned in a Mishnah. Ha'isha sha'amra, if a woman says, Iskabali giti, except for me, a get me complaining from a certain place. V'kivala gita mimokoim acher. And the shliach accepts the get for her in a different place. Says the Tanakama, Pasal v'lazar machsher. Alma kasavar, according to Elazar, why is it kosher? Maramakim ilai, the woman wasn't saying specifically only accept it in that place, but rather they were giving an idea of where it might potentially happen, but it will be kosher. So we begin with really segueing from the previous Gemara, that not only did Rav Shimon teach us this concept of maramakim uloi, that the Mishalech Lesender is not particularly makbid, Rav Shimon Gamliel and Rav Elazar agree with such a sentiment. Rav Shimon Gamliel in the case of get pashet, Rav Elazar in this case of a woman asking someone to accept for her a get. Amar Ula continues it, going back on the din of our Mishnah. Machlekes, the Machlekes Tanakama and Rav Shimon is b'shevach amamoin, is a monetary dispute. Aval b'shevach yochsin. When it comes to something with regard to yochsin, divrei hakol eina mikudeshes. Everyone agrees there's no marriage. Why not? My taima explains the Gemara Misane derav mekare loy ba'ina. Because people say I don't need a shoe that's too big for my foot, and therefore one is a makbid on yichos. Both ways is the chiddush over here, that she doesn't necessarily want to marry someone who's has a higher level of yichos, cause it is too much for her to handle. And the Gemara says, let's bring a brisa that corroborates this point. Tanya Nami Achi, 10 lines from the wide lines. Maider Rav Shimon hital shevach yochsin einoi mikudeshes. Even though in the Mishnah there's a machlekes about tricking someone l'shvach for the better, do we say maramakim in regard to monetary disputes or not? But says Rav Shimon with regard to yochsin, nothing doing. Why not? The reason being, because I don't want a shoe too big for me. I don't want someone such a high level yichos. Continues the Gemara Rav Ashi, further proving this point. Masnisa nami deka, from within the words of the Mishnah itself, we have a raya. Tekatani amanashani kayim v'nimsa Levi, Levi v'nimsa kayim, Nisei v'nimsa mamzer, mamzer v'nimsa nisin, different psulim. Rav Shimon, in all these cases, Rav Shimon does not argue, clearly proving the point. This is going to be the next Mishnah, clearly proving the point that when it comes to Yochsin, he will agree that it's Einoi Mikudeshes. Maskal Amar Bar Rav Ashi, 1 second. Eladikatani. We're asking on the Raya from the Mishnah we just quoted. And we're not arguing on the Din, we're asking on the Raya. Because the Mishnah says, Libas, if if he says, on condition that I have a daughter or a maidservant, ve'ein lo, he doesn't have, amanasha ein lo v'yesh lo, which are cases of the shevach mamaynu. These are cases of monetary, having an extra maidservant. Chanami delay polig. Are you going to tell me in this case that they don't argue? Of course they do. Ela polig v'reisha v'u'adin b'seifa. What's the Gemara proving? That in that case, in the next Mishnah, does not mention Shitas Rav Shimon. Does not mention that Rav Shimon says, oh yeah, in this case he argues as well. Why not? Must be he argued in our Mishnah, and we can assume that the same machlekes follows through to the next Mishnah. Hachanami, so says the Gemara of no Rahaya. Polig Bereisha v'hu adin l'seifa. So maybe Rav Shimon just argues in our Mishnah, and he doesn't necessarily speak out that he's arguing, but maybe it's Pashit that he argues as well in the next Mishnah. Says the Gemara, no, hachi hashta. 1 second. Some over there, they're both the same case. Therefore, we could use the concept of, in the second wide line, Polig Bereisha v'adin b'seifa. But also over here, in this case of Yochsin, the Shevach Yochsinu, Emisa de Polig Nisli, we never had such a case. This is the first explicit mention in the Mishnah. Therefore, if he argued, he should have said it explicitly. Iba Yisema, another Teretz, Achanami Shevach Yochsin. Really, this is as well a case of Shevach Yochsin. Misavris, my Migudeles, Gedayla Mamish. What does it mean when it means Migudeles? It doesn't mean an actual daughter who's a Gedayla. My Migudeles, Gadlus. It means with good yichos. The Amrahi, because she could say, Lanichli, the Shakal, Mili Minai. I don't want this, excuse me, the maidservant. What does it mean she's a Migudeles? Means that she has good yichos, the maidservant. Therefore, the wife could say, I don't want such a maid. Why not? It's not agreeable to me. The shakal milu minai. She's going to take words from me. She's going to go and tell the neighbors. And that's why it will not be a good Kiddushin, not because they're arguing about Shevach Mamain, but rather it's a case of Shevach Yochsin. Continues the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan. Moving on from the din in our Mishnah to a new topic, a topic of Kiddushin al Tanai. 7 lines from the bottom of Memtesa Manala. First one line is Li. Tanu Rabbanan al Minas Shani Kraina. If he says on condition that I am a reader, Karina, I read Chomesh, Kivin Shakar, such a psukim v'veis Knesses. Once he reads 3 psukim in shul, that's enough. Phrase Mekudeshes. Rav Yehuda Imer, Yikra, no, he has to read v'yitargum and retargum unclis as well. Yitargum midaite. Says the Gemara, 1 second. What does it mean, targum? It means just translates it. V'atani Rav Yehuda Imer, amatargum, paslik kitzurasa, hareze badoi. Is a liar. You can't just translate something the way that it sounds. V'amaisiv love you add on to the Torah mecharev u'megadif. Elamai Targum explains the Gemara. Targum didon. It means our Targum, like we explained. Vahani Mili, and the Gemara qualifies Damar Le, in which he said to her, Karaino, that he reads Chomesh. Avlamale Kara Ano. If he says, I know how to read, then Adekari Araisa, Nevi Uksuvi, he has to be able to read all 3 bidiyuka with appropriate diktok. Only then will he be married. Continues the Gemara, 2 lines on the bottom. Amanashani Shaina. If he says, then I am a Shaina. I am one who learns. Chizki Amar Halachas, he has to learn Halach. Rav Yechon Amar Taira, basically asking Gemara, Ezu he Mishnah Rameir Mer Halachas, Rav Yehuda Mer Midrash. But no one says that it is Chumash. And Rav Yechon just said that what it means to be Shaina meant Chumash. Answers the Gemara as we turn over to Memtes Amibes. My Torah, what did Rav Yehuda mean? He meant Midrash Torah. He meant Midrash. Vahani Mili, and continues the Gemara qualifying on Memtes Amibes. The Amar La Tanina. This is in particular when the Hani Mili, Damar La Tanina, when he said, I'm one who learns. Aval Amar, but if he said, similar to the previous case, if he said that Tana Ana, I have learned, then at the Tani Hilchasa, he has to learn Halacha Sifra Sifri Tesefta. It's a much higher level. Continues the Gemara, Amanashani Talmid. If he says, I'm married to a Kiddushin, then I am a Talmid. Memtesa, maybe he's 4 lines down. Ein oimrim kishiman ben azha yugshem ben zaimna. Doesn't mean talmidim of such caliber. Ella kol sheshaylim ma'isai v'chol makayim. Davar echad. If someone asks him something in any place, b'limudai, that which he is learning, va'imrai, and he responds, va'afilu mesechta dekala, even in a small mesechta. So it's a lower level, but obviously quite a high level. Continues the Gemara, Amen Ashani Chacham. Ein Oimrim Kechachne Yavne Ki Rabbi Akiva v'Chaveirov. Elo, what does it mean? Kol Shalom Rasul Dvar Chachma. If you ask him any form of Chachma, Chol Makav Amran, he answers, Amen Ashani Gibor, I'm strong. Ein Oimrim, it doesn't mean Kavna Bener Ki Oivin Sururia. Elo Kol Shechaveira Misyar Mimenu. If his friends are afraid from him due to his strength, that's called one that is strong. Amen Ashani Ashir. If he marries our condition that he is wealthy, we are 10 lines down. Memtes Amid, base first line is Gvurasai. Ein Aimim, what does wealthy mean? Kravlazim and Chayrsaim, Kravlazim and Azariah, Ain and Rashi, to their incredible wealth. Elakol Shabbatei Idrai Mechadin Isai, if the people in the city honor him, then they usher due to his wealth, that's called wealthy. Amanashani Tzadik, the very famous Gemara we just said Yom Kippur. So what happens if someone marries someone on condition he's a Tzadik, says the Gemara, the famous line. Afilu Rasha Gamor Mekudeshes. Why? What do you mean? Well, the other cases we said he has to have wealth, people have to honor him, he has to be strong, he has to have learned. All of a sudden here Tzadik means even a Rasha. Says the Gemara, because what defines a tzaddik? Shema, hira, tshuva, b'daita. Maybe he had a thought of tshuva in his mind, and that is enough, says the Gemara famously, to consider him a tzaddik. Amanashani Rasha. Says the Gemara, I feel tzaddik gamer kedashes. Why should we hear dvar aveira? Excuse me, not just any aveira. Dvar aveira, it's chavim b'daita. Because of course we know that not any aveira makes one. We don't generally count machshava. But the machshava avodas chachavim, then we do. Continues the Gemara, Asara kabin chachma yardu lailam. 10 kabin, 10 measures. Now exactly what this means, of course, is a bit esoteric. It says the Gemara, 10 measures of wisdom descended to the world. Tisha nalal Eretz Yisrael. We know Eretz Yisrael's machkim makes you smart. V'echad kadam kulay. Continues the Gemara, Asara kabim yoifi, beauty yardu lailam. Tishanat Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim has the beautiful people, beautiful everything. V'echad kolam kula. Asara kabim ashiros yardu lailam. Tisha natlu ramayim. The Romans went with the ashiros. Kadmainim natlu ramayim kamayim. Excuse me, the earlier Romans. V'echad kolam kula. Yod kadmanios yardu lailam. Poverty. Tisha natla bavel. V'echad kolam kulay. Asara kabim gasos. Haughtiness yardu lailam. Tisha kabim elim. Says the Gemara, where did the Gasos go? The Gasos went, Elam. What is Elam referring to? A certain older nation in northwestern Iran. Ve'echad kol Elam kulay. V'gas Babylon elchis. Says Gemara, 1 second. Didn't go to Bavel? V'akseva, the Bible says, V'isha einay ve'era. V'nei shtayim nashin yotzes v'rach kenafayim lehana kenafayim b'chanan ve'achasida. Okay, it's a very long and lengthy pasuk. Let's just read the pasuk, and then we will translate. V'tisenes ha'aifa ben haaretz u'ben hashamayim. Again, we have 2 women. He raises his eyes. This is a pasuk in Zechariah. He raises his eyes and he sees 2 women, and there's wind in their wings, and the wings were on the wings of a stork. And they lifted up an ephah, carrying it between the earth and the sky. And says Zechariah and Avi, and I said to the Malach Hadayver Bi who was speaking with me, where are these angels, these winged creatures? Where are they bringing this ephah? And the Malach responded, they're bringing it to build a house in Eretz Shinar. This refers to Chanifa. This refers to false flattery and arrogance. So ask the Gemara, you're telling me that all the Gaiva, all the Gasas Ruach went to Elam. It sounds like it went to Bavel. Answers Gemara in, it's true, lahacha nachas, it went to Bavel. Vishtarube Yehuda, Vishtarube lahasam, but eventually it ended up in the place called Elam. They can I'll bring you a proof. They Katani, it says, live nice labayis. Says just to build a house, Shemami no, but of course, after the house was built, then it could have been transported. Ask the Gemara, Eini, is that true of Amar Mar? Mar says, Simli Gasas Anios. Says, what's a simon for one who's haughty? If he's in Ani, and we know that Anias is in Bavel. My Anios, says the Gemara, Anias did Torah. Tersev, Echos Takitana Veshadayim Imha. Vamer Rav Yechanan Zu Elam, this refers to Elam, Shez Aschal Lilmaid, Bat, plus Aschal Lamed. So indeed, in Elam, they were poor, and therefore it makes sense that there was gaiva there as well. Asar kavin gvura yardu lailam. Tishan alu parsim, the Persians. Asar kavin kinim yardu lailam lais. Tishan alu madai. Asar kavim kshafim kishaf yardu lailam. Tishan alu mitzrayim, the Egyptians. Asar kavim nigoyim yardu lailam, different afflictions. Tasnan alu chazirim, the pigs, leprosy. Yod kavim zunos yardu lailam. Tishan alu arbayo, we know the Arabs, a very high level of zunos. Asar kavim azos Yardu La'ilam, Tishan Alamation. Sorry, Kamim Sicha talking Yardu La'ilam. This is why the whole Gemara was quoted. Tisha Na'la Nashem, women talk a lot. Sorry, Kamim Shichros. Drunkenness Yardu La'ilam, Tishan Na'la Kushem. Sorry, Kamim Shina Yardu La'ilam, Tishan Na'la Avadim. Ve'echa Na'la Kaila'ilam Kulai. The segue was particularly because we ended off the previous Gemara that the Gemara said that Manas, you marry someone with a certain tendency, a certain quality, and from there we quote all different qualities, different peoples of the world, most notably in the world of marriage, the quality of midaberes, that a woman talks. We'll pick it up from the Mishnah in the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.